And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you all once again. We have returned with the second half of the broadcast with the Hispanic Star League Group D. We are now halfway through the broadcast as we're getting into our next matchup. GSL is round robin into brackets. That is not true. GSL is a GSL format. The way the GSL groups work is that the winners play against each other, losers play against each other, and then you have the decider match. So you have less matches in a GSL group. In round robin, everyone plays against everyone, regardless. We are jumping into our next set of matches here. Up next, we have our PvTs even. We have Mute versus Bombilla and Mute versus Luciano right around the corner. Let's go. Let us go. And again, I'm excited because I want to see how Bombilla is comparing against some of these more modern players. We saw Bombilla versus Luciano previously, and we'll see how he compares. We'll see how he does compare to Mute. Here we go. So jumping into game one. Game one is going to be on Amygdala. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the red Terran player, the red Terran from the land of Peru, representing Imba Force. It is Bombilla. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss from the land of Peru, representing Bing Bong Exports. It is Mute. And do I go as far as to say that Mute is the best Protoss player in Latino America now? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Mute has been improving so much. I remember casting Mute last year, like beginning of last year, and you know, he had just gotten back into GM, like he was just kind of like popping up into the scene. But Mute has been steadily improving, over time, over the past year, and nowadays we've even seen Mute cause upsets. I think it was a couple of weeks ago where Mute took down Classic. Mute took a map off of Cure as well. Like Mute, he's now taking maps off of some of the best players in the world. It's been crazy to see the growth of Mute, and I have a hard time placing him against Master. You know, show matchup bound potentially, but Master, he is of course the Brazilian Protoss player. I'm curious to see how he compares to our Peruvian Protoss. I'm curious. For now though, gonna be settling in. Oh, so yeah, speaking of I just spoke about how Mute did defeat Classic, and yeah, Bombilla, he's also bringing that up. Like that's the most recent big win that Mute had, is that he did 2-0. It was a 2-0 as well, I believe, not even a 2-1. Mute saying he feels good. Does feel good. Se siento bien, papi. Beautiful. But yeah, it was in KSL, the Korean StarCraft League. I don't think we casted it. No, we didn't cast it. I just remember seeing it on the bracket and messaging Mute. I was like, mate, the hell? What's going on? It was like, I got lucky, papi. I got lucky. But really cool to see that Bombilla is aware of as well. And that's the reason why Mute is the favorite player coming into these groups. Like again, he's beating players like Classic, beating players like Cure. Like it's crazy. Imagine being from the Latin American scene but beating one of the best. I mean, is that uncommon? I mean, are we not going to talk about Juanito or Cham or Eric? Like Eric, he's had his way with Dark like multiple times, especially last year, right? Where Eric does have the superior ZVZ over Dark. It was Juanito, you know, of course, spending time in Korea. Diego. Yeah, not uncommon. But I mean, that's again kind of like emphasizing how Mute is like rising up and becoming like one of the best in the region, and yeah, becoming comparable to some of the other top players out there. It's interesting. I wouldn't say that he's quite there yet. I would say that, you know, winning one series doesn't mean that, oh, suddenly you're on par. He still has a ways to go, but it's about becoming like more consistent, right? It's about consistently beating these players and consistently being at that level, instead of, you know, being at your best and maybe your opponent having an off day. It's about, you know, being there more often. And we'll see if we can get there. But now we do have Bombilla going to be poking and testing the waters. So far, shield battery is done. We have a full wall off here at the natural. Likewise, SimCity here in the main will block off those Reapers. As the Reapers, they cannot get into the main base. Mute, he is solid, he is secure. And Mute is shutting down the initial Reaper Hellion aggression. So far, so good. Twice? I'm pretty sure it happened 3 times. Am I crazy? Did Eric not take down Dark like 3 times? Like, it happened very, very regularly. And now Bombilla gonna be forced back. Is gonna be forced back behind this, getting into its own setup. Twice or back to back? Yeah, twice is back to back. But I'm pretty sure he's beating him more than that. As from here, again, getting into his own bio tank. No mech? I should emphasize that as well. Every game so far, or almost every game so far, Bombilla against Zerg and Bombilla against Terran, we have seen mech. He does not whip out the mech against his current Protoss opponent though, and this is looking like a 2-base all-in. Just as a heads up, this is a 3-vac setup before the starport. This is a very delayed starport. What does this mean? This means early stim. This means additional bioproduction. This means a very strong, very hefty army early on. And Bombilla, he might pull the boys with this. We'll see. Regardless, he's going to have a hefty army, and it's going to be up to Mute to survive. Mute, now he does scout. He does see the missing starport, so he knows how aggressive this is going to be. And I like this move out Mute. He has to be as aggressive as possible. He has to be as aggressive as possible to slow down this push, to pick away at the Marines and to pick away at the tanks. Mute does move out. Last one, but yeah, he does siege. Oh! Tank shot not quite going off. Yeah, nice volleys. One Stalker goes down. Mute, he rotates. Does rotate, looking for another way in. Does head towards the main base as Stim is done, by the way, and Stim is going to punish this. Yeah, this is not the blink. Not the blink to go for. Oh my god, brutal losses here for Mute as he will lose everything. A big misread of the situation. Again, Mute, despite seeing the build of choice, he should have known that Stim was done. Alas, he gets punished real hard and real fast, and Bombilla takes a massive lead. I mentioned earlier that Mute had to be aggressive. That doesn't mean blinking into the bases. That means slowing down the push, not diving in. And with that Bombilla, he has a massive lead. Back at home, Mute trying to work towards his own Colossus follow-up, working towards charge, working towards Colossus production. But last Bombilla does have a big advantage. Now is the time. Now, the scary thing about Bombilla's position is that on the one hand, yes, Bombilla does have a lead. The problem, though, is that if he does move out, there's a prism. There's war prism, there's charge lots, like there is a harassment or a counterattack ready to go in. And of course, Bombilla, he did scout that prism. So he's still being contained. Still being contained. So he does need to move out before there are too many Colossus. First Colossus on the way. Here comes the unsiege, here comes the push. And as Bombilla moves out, Mute moves in. Yeah, Mute does hit that mineral line. SCV's going to be going down. Bombilla, he has to pull away. How does he react? He commits. He keeps going. Yeah, he doesn't care here about those zelts in the main. SCV's going to be falling. Gets so far only 2 SCVs in camps of production, and he just pulled the, yeah, he was just pulled the boys. So 2-base all in here by Bombilla. If you recall, we called the 2-base all in when we saw the late starport, so it's all or nothing for the Terran. There's going to be 1 Colossus to defend, and only 1 Colossus. That may not be enough. As it's all or nothing for Bombilla, he just lifts, he evacuates his main base. The Great Migration has occurred. Gets the hell out of there. Oh, he has to be careful there. He has to make sure he doesn't go in too soon, too prematurely. There your Sim's in. Does go for the Sim. Very nice force fields. Ooh, completely locks him out. SCV's going to be going down. Nice save, nice lift. As he will break the third, but he has to do more than just the third base. And Mute, he's out of force fields. He's out of force fields. Yeah, the Robo is exposed. Mute, he abandons this position. He does go for the counterattack, and we're going for the base trade. Now, these buildings are actually still within range of the Stalkers, so they have to do a better job at floating away. Bombilla, he has to be careful. Rover's gonna go down, no second Colossus. And Mute, I believe he does escape with a probe. Crucial here. He has a worker. He can throw down a building. Bobby, we have to float. We have to float away. These buildings are gonna go down. Yeah, again, there's no dead space. There's no dead space here, so these racks are gonna fall. The CC as well. These buildings should survive, at least the ones at the natural. And again, Bombilla, we gotta keep going. We gotta keep pushing. And I think regardless of Bombilla losing his CC and losing these Raxes, I believe Bombilla, he should still come out on top here. As I do favor his army as the CC goes down. But again, specifically, these two buildings are safe. This CC and this starport, that's all that matters. Is that those buildings are safe. Main base is gonna fall. There's that pylon. Again, there is still that probe. Going for the Star... Oh god, they're going for the Stargate. On the one hand, I mean, we need pylons, yeah. I mean, Mute is heavily supply blocked. Does need pylons. So the Stargate is a good option because then he can hunt down these floating buildings, but he can't make anything because of the supply block. He cannot make any units. As gateways are going to be falling. Mute is not going to be revealed as he has a Nexus. Bombilla should be aware. Throws out his own CC. Let's go. Throws out his own command center. Mute, he can afford some extra pylons, and he's going to need them. Oh! Mute picking away at the SCVs. Going for the tank. Ooh, gets it. Does get it. Nice pickoff. Gets one of the tanks. Colossus moving in. Because of these sentries, he can force field the ramp. True. Bombilla, he cannot push down. He cannot push down this ramp. If he tries to, he will lose everything. Oh, he sees the observer. Does see the observer. He's going to land for the scan. And that will help. It's going to be a nice pickoff. There it is. There's the scan. Observer goes down. So no high ground vision. But he does have the prism. He has hallucinations. And because these medevacs, Bombilla, he can always drop down. Like, he can always, like, ferry his units to the low ground on the left-hand side. Oh, this is so risky. This is very risky here. He's playing with fire right now. Bombilla, cuidado. Meanwhile, he has taken the main base of his opponent. Likewise, Mute taking the main base of Bombilla. We have traded bases. No more Maxes I found. More Maxes are found. Like, in a head-on fight, Bombilla wins, but this is not going to be a head-on fight. Oh, he's going to try to pull the voice, but we have force field. That's the problem here. No, this is not the play. Yeah, 2 tanks that go down for free. Force field on the ramp. Bombilla losing so much here. Does he still have enough? I mean, the tanks, they do help out on the high ground, but Bombilla, he's bleeding out more units than he should. There's another force field. Does miss. He misses the force field. Bombilla, he breaks out, takes out the Colossus. Ooh, hot pickup. But the Mass Marine should be enough. He wants that prism. He wants it. Oh my god. Takes out the Stalkers. Whew. And even though that was maybe one of the worst fights that he could have taken, still breaks through. Still breaks through. Mute. He misses the force fields. And Bombilla, oh my god. The Colossus wipes are brutal. Bombilla, he breaks out. He breaks out, he moves out across the map. There's 2 Stalkers, 1's out, and a Colossus. Shields are regenerating. Bombilla going for the bases. We're still committed to the base trade. Bombilla, he's searching for the expansions. There we go, he does scan, does find the Nexus. Likewise, these SCVs are going to go down. Yeah, there's no saving them. Oh, he's making Marine. He's making Marine. Let's go. Is producing Marines. And Bombilla, he should take this. He should take this. as there is a Phoenix to hunt down flying buildings, but there's no way out of the main. There is a pylon on the map. The Prism can try to... Oh, there's a probe. True, there's a probe on the map as well. So Mute, he can make a pylon. Main base is going to fall. Colossus races back home. Has to be so careful with that Colossus. Ah, there's a Viking. Yeah, the Viking should secure this, because the Viking can hunt down the Prism. Speaking of, is going to... Yeah, Viking moves in. Oof. Phoenix does help. Does zone. Zone, but a whole damage on the Phoenix as well. Down to one pylon. Where's that probe? Probe is top right. Mute. There we go. Second pylon. Second pylon is thrown down. There's still one pylon left. There's one pylon. There's a Colossus. A handful of gateway units and a dream. One pylon remaining. And Bombilla, he's going for it. Does send it across the map. One pylon left. I believe Mute is revealed. Yep, Mute is revealed. He sees the pylon. He's going for it. Likewise, still has a Rex burning. He does have the starport towards top left. He has a CC mining, of course, with the mules. And of course, Mute doesn't know where the CC is. Doesn't know where it is. Stims on in. Takes down the pylon. And GG. And GG gets called. The final building goes down, and Bombilla takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. And again, this all kind of came down to the misread of Mute. As a reminder, Mute, he scouted the 3 racks. He scouted the 3 rack setup. And what was his decision? His decision was to blink into the main. He blinked into the main base, he lost all of his stalkers, and that allowed the 2-base all-in from Bombilla to be even stronger. So he pulled the boys, went for the 2-base all-in, and alas, Mute could not do anything about it. He had bled out too much at the start of the game. And again, Mute, he knew what was happening. He saw the build. Alas, the play was not to blink into the main base, but to try to just contain the Terran player. That would be the go-to there. Contain the Terran, slow down the push, pick away Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, tanks, SCVs, just slow down the all-in. Instead, Mute was overly aggressive. He was overly aggressive, he overstepped his bounds, and alas, lost everything. Did lose everything as a result. GG. Whew, GG, well played. That leads us into game number 2. Leads us into El Dorado. Let's go. Jumping into El Dorado. Okay, and a crazy chaotic game 1. We'll see if game 2 is more of the same. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the red Terran player from the land of Peru, leading the series 1-0, representing Imba Force. It is Bombilla. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss flavor, the blue Protoss himself from land of Peru, representing Bing Bong Exports. It is Mute. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in. And we do see Bombilla going for an economic opener, going for a single gas geyser into a CC on the low ground. So a more economic start here. Out of Bombilla. Meanwhile, Mute across the map. Going to be settling in as well into his own standard opener. Here we go. Oh, my apologies. I assumed it was going to be a CC on low ground. It's going to be a second Rax instead. Okay, 2 Rax Reaper out of Bombilla. Interesting choice. Going for something more aggressive here instead. Meanwhile, Mute for the time being is unaware. He's just getting into his own setup, into his own build. Into his own build of choice. So, Gateway into Cybercore into Expansion. Everything so far looking good. And we'll see what Bombilla can get done. As he's going reactor. Wait, he's going double react. Wait, what? Okay, so traditional 2-Rax Reaper is you just make your Raxes and you just make your Reapers. You don't actually get into add-ons. You build up towards a higher Reaper count early on. You harass across the map. This is more committed. This is going to be delayed, but we're going to be making 4 Reapers at a time. And yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I actually haven't seen this before. It's very committed, very committed. It's a bigger investment as well. It's gonna be a lot of Reapers. This does heavily delay the CC. Big delay here on the command center for Bombilla. This needs to get economic damage done. Otherwise, it's not gonna be worth it. It's not going to be worth it here. Hallucination scouts 1 Rax. Does scout the main and should check the natural as well. Should check the natural. For now, Reapers are amassing. Hallucination just confirming the lack of anything else in the main. Checking the vision. Mute, he does check the natural. Nothing there either. Something is wrong. Something is amiss. And he will scout. Yeah, he scouts 2nd Rax. He does scout the 2nd Rax here. Does confirm. Back at him, shield batteries are on the way. We need as many gateway units as possible. Mute taking defensive stance. He sees everything. He knows. Mute, he knows what's going on. It's 4. It's a 1 base all in. Okay. So it's gonna be a 1 base 4 Rax Mass Reaper all in here. Bombilla, he might even go like eBay into +1. He's crazy, just going Mass Reaper. Now, what I find interesting about this is that this is not a good map for Reapers. And why is this not a good map for Reapers? Because there's no way into the main. Like, there's no Reaper cliff. There's no Reaper. There's only one. You can only head towards the natural. So you can't, like, outposition your opponents. You can't, like, rotate back and forth. Instead, he's trying to brute force the issue here. But alas, he cannot break through that shield battery. He cannot break through that support. More shield batteries on the way. Like, this is it. This is the only entrance. The only entrance into the bases is at the front door. And I would say that the value, the added value of Reapers is their mobility, is to rotate between locations, between Reaper cliffs. But there aren't multiple Reaper cliffs on El Dorado. Does try to rush past the main army, true. But takes a lot of losses in the process. Yeah, Reapers are going down. He's going for the Sentry. Sentry survives. The shield battery is insane. There we go, out of range of the shield battery, 1 Sentry falls, but this is not worth it. It's not worth it here. So many Reapers go down. Ay. Mute so far looking solid. Mute, he has killed 7 Reapers for 1 Sentry. 1 Sentry, papi. Ay. Behind this, Bombilla is transitioning into Stim, into Concussive Shell, into mass bioproduction. But this is going to be delayed. It's going to be delayed. And Mute, he's getting into his own blink timing, extra gateways, robos on the way for Immortals for potentially splash damage. Of course, because Mute saw all the Raxes, for the most part, he knows that like the potential follow-up is going to be Bio and Stim. To make use of all that production. And yeah, we'll see how Bombilla is able to pull this off. Now, we already saw Mute misreading and overextending in game 1. True, that already happened. That already did happen in game 1. So that could happen again. That could occur for a second time. As here comes a follow-up. Upgrades are wrapping up here for Bombilla. And it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing here. I mean, at this point, may as well just pull the boys, to be honest. But it's fine. Mute takes the 3rd base. This is greedy from Mute. Mute's also taking up towards that Colossus. He's not there yet. Mute does attempt to move out. There's that Stim. There's that Stim from Bombilla. Does Stim forward, takes down the Stalker. Gets over the sentries, but the shield batteries has 3 shield batteries to support this. And the shield batteries, they do pop off. A crazy blink there out of Mute. Once again, that's not the blink to go for. Boys are being pulled with the help of the boys. He defends. He does defend. He will clean this up. Some questionable moves there out of Mute, but regardless, he will hold nonetheless. He will defend. He holds, he shuts down the all-in, shuts down the aggression. Has plenty of Stalkers left over. Nice control there by Bombilla. Does focus on that weakened Stalker. But despite that, Mute, he saves a third. He saves his third base. Momentum is on his side. The Bay is done. He can go into Colossus production. Mute is checking for any, you know, Gangnam Terran or Ninja bases. Confirms nothing here. He can gain access to that natural. Yep, catching reinforcements. Nice backstab by Mute. Boys are being pulled. And this is brutal damage. I mean, there's barely an economy to begin with. Back at home, we have force fields. And do we force the ramp in time? Oh! Yeah, so far, so good. Yeah, force fields, they lock him down. GG gets called, and Mute takes or does fight back, and does tie things up 1-1. Whew, GG. Does tie things up. With that, we're getting into game number 3 with a back and forth. Let's go. We have that back and forth. Again, it was a crazy build out of Bombilla going for 2x reactored Mass Reaper into a 1-base sim timing all in. It was crazy. Again, I think I would appreciate that build a little bit more on another map, on maybe Whispers of Gold, on maybe even Ultra Love as well. Just some of these other maps that do have multiple entrances into the natural and into the main base, so you can actually just rotate between them, and then that means that you force the Protoss to throw down shield batteries in both bases, in both locations, and spread out their army and split up, and then you can try to catch them out of position. Like, there are ways to make use of the terrain, and I feel like that's how you have to approach this if you're going Mass Reaper. Here on El Dorado, as we saw, just one avenue of attack, right? Just one avenue, the natural, so a lot easier for our Protoss player to just pull off that defense and to secure himself. GG. GG, well played. With that, that leads us into game number 3, and we'll see how this story ends as we are loading into ley lines. Let's go. Here we go, and spawning in the top right hand corner of ley lines, we have our red Terran player. We have our red Terran representing Imba Force. It is Bombilla. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player from Land of Peru representing Bing Bong Exports. It is Mute. Now, coming into this, Bombilla has gone for an all-in every game. Game 1 was a 2-base all-in. Game 2 was a 1-base all-in. Coming into game 3, does he actually expand? Does he play macro? Does he get a third CC? Or do we have another all-in from Bombilla? I'm leaning towards aggression. I'm leaning towards an all-in, but we'll see. We'll see what Bombilla does go for. Here on ley lines, it is a bit of a larger map, but smaller compared to Amygdala, so I expect him to take a natural. I'm leaning towards 2-base all-in. We'll keep an eye on his build. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, standard opener out of Mute. I do think that Mute has had some questionable decision making when it comes to the main fights, when it comes to the engagements. We've had some crazy blinks out of Mute, and he's been punished for it time and time again, both in game 1 and in game 2. So hopefully it calms things down a little bit coming into game 3. We'll see. We shall see. We got a series. We do. I mean, so far every series tonight has gone to, has been a back and forth. Some matches have been, 2-0. Then the third game is like they're able to put a point on the board. But so far we've had, like, again, a back and forth, and it's been more competitive between all of our players. 2x Now, this is more standard here. 2x Reaper, but the second Rax is in the main, and there's no reactor. There's no reactors here, so this is more standard. This is a macro opener. This is designed to get some economic damage done. That is true. It is designed to get some economic damage, but this is not an all-in, at least not yet. Bombilla could turn this into an all-in. True, he could just throw down 2 more Raxes and start a tech lab, but thankfully there's a CC. Commensurate is on the way. Bombilla, he does scout, looking for proxies. Checks the 3rd and 4th location, making sure nothing is amiss. Ooh, that is a 3rd Rax. Okay, so 2 Rax Reaper into a 3 Rax, and Mute, he will once again see everything. Just really safe play at a Mute, opening Sentry. Sentry confirm, or Hallucination confirms everything in the main base, is aware of the 3 Rax. Now, as a response to this, we could go for a Robo Opener. A Robo Opener would be a hard counter. Instead, Twilight Council. Okay, Twilight Council out of Mute. Now, a Robo Opener would lead into Immortals and lead into early Colossus to shut down the stim timing. Stalkers are also a good response, though, getting to Blink and ideally being proactive, ideally slowing down the push ahead of time. But now Reapers, they hit the natural, shield battery is done. Ooh, they get locked down, the force fields are brutal. And the Reapers, they are forced into the natural, deeper into the bases. And they should be cleaned up. I say that. Oh, the Jukes does rotate here towards low ground and does get 1 probe. 1 probe does fall. Nice movement there by Bombilla, making the best out of a bad situation. We'll still lose both Reapers though. Still a better trade for the Protoss. And there is Blink. Blink is on the way. Behind this, we should be seeing extra gateways. We should not be rushing to a 3rd base yet. We should be getting into a 2nd, into a 3rd gate, into a safer start. As Bombilla is moving out. There we go, 3rd gate's on the way. There's that Robo for the safety immortal production, if need be. Here comes Bombilla. This is a really early push. Remember, Stim isn't done. Stim is only not even halfway done at this point, so very early move out by Bombilla. He does have Concussive. Concussive Shell is done. But I do think he's being a little bit too cavalier here. Like, he's got to calm down a little bit. Doesn't want to throw away too much too quickly. And he's trying to catch out a Stalker. Alas, won't quite be able to. Gets a Sentry at least. And will get a Stalker. Yeah, Stalker goes down. He gets 1. He gets 2. Blink is not yet done. So not the worst trades here. Oh. Not the worst trades from Bombilla. But this is hurting Bombilla more than it is Mute. What I mean by that here is, as he will get another... Oh, barely doesn't get another Stalker. Barely does pull away. But what I mean by that is that Bombilla, this sim timing is going to be weaker now. Because, I mean, he just lost how many Marines? 9, 10. 10 Marines just went down, 3 Marauders as well, and what did he get? He got 3 Stalkers and a Sentry. Alas, this does mean that even though Stim is done, there's that much less to work with here for the Terran army. So it's going to be a weaker Stim timing. Mute's behind this, going for the Dark Shrine. I do really like DTs when you know that your opponent's going for an all-in. Behind this 3-1-1 setup. Just because without a 3rd CC, your scans are very limited as a Terran player. So Dark Templar can be brutal. Stalkers, they pick away at the bio, they force out a Stim. Muty gets the hell out of there. Does pull away. Does pull out, does pull away. So far, nice pickups. Getting another Marine. The Bay is done. Colossus is going to be on the horizon. Bombilla, he throws down 2 more Maxes. No 3rd TC. This is looking like a 2-base all-in. But Bombilla is still building up. Oh, here come the Dark Templar. Yeah, Proxy Pylon DTs are warping across the map. And again, scans are going to be limited because, I mean, again, Bombilla's committed on 2 bases. He is mealing his heart out. So we'll keep an eye on those scans. Ideally, Mute wants to wait for Bombilla to move out before moving in. Scans are available. Oh, he gets spotted. Does he get spotted? Did he notice? Double eBay for double upgrades. He's holding on to that energy. Yeah, he's holding on. Okay. Did he notice the shimmer? I don't know. I don't know if he noticed the shimmer, but he is holding on to that energy at least, which is a good sign. From here, Mute, he's building up more Colossus. Bombilla, still no expansion. So Templar, they pull away. Yeah, Bombilla looks like he did notice. He's hunting them down. We'll find the pylon. Now, if he had noticed, we'd see turrets. So the lack of turrets is concerning to me. He has the eBay to make them. There we go. Turrets are on the way. He saw, baby. He saw. And the boys are being pulled. The boys are being pulled. So straight up 2 base all in, as I did mention, out of Bombilla. Almost all the boys are being pulled, by the way, even from the main. It's all or nothing from the Terran, as he will send everything across the map. Back at home. Unit setting up. DTs do waddle in. There is detection. And we need force fields. Force fields are going to be so crucial here in the defense. Mute has to try to slice up this army. Bombilla, oh. Getting caught out. Okay, SCVs, they move in. Force fields are decent. Yeah, they slow down the army. Charge is now done. SCVs, they get completely shut down, and now we're going for the buy. We're going for the Marines. And these 2 Colossus, they just shut down the all-in. And the Colossus are ready. They're secure. We have cannons. We have shield batteries. There's no breaking this position. Bombilla, he scans. He sees. He knows he cannot break this. GG. And Mute, he will take the series 2-1. Will maintain his lead. GG. GG. Well played, Mute will take it. A very aggressive series here out of Bombilla. Bombilla going for non-stop, either 1 base all-ins or 2 base all-ins, and did have some success. But again, I would say that a lot of that on on Amygdala did come down to Mute overextending, misreading what he had scouted, and getting caught with his pants down. Mute had a very rough response on Amygdala, and alas, he got overwhelmed. But shout out to Bombilla. Big shout out to Bombilla, as he does make Mute work for it. Did go down in the end, but not looking too bad whatsoever. As that leads us into our final series of the night, into our next best of 3. It's going to be a best of 3 between Mute and Luciano. Let's go.